You know, the longer I've been around airports, the more I've realized something. The people who often need the most help get told the least. And seniors, especially those traveling alone, traveling after a long break, or navigating new airport systems, are quietly sitting on a treasure chest of perks, protections, shortcuts, and accommodations that airlines rarely mention, because there's no incentive for them to do so. So let me start with a truth most travelers never hear out loud. Airports are not built for comfort. They're built for flow. And anything that slows down the flow, anything that requires extra staff time, or anything that reduces profit tends to be softened, hidden, or put behind layers of confusing policy language. But here's the twist. Senior travelers actually have more rights than most people realize. And today, I want to reveal the 10 forgotten ones, the ones that can change your entire flying experience, if you know to ask for them. By the end of this video, you'll know how to get faster service, smoother boarding, more comfortable seating, special protections during delays, and even hidden perks inside the plane, all without being pushy or demanding. Just confident, informed, and completely within your rights. Let's start with one that can save you from one of the worst airport frustrations. 1. The right to a human being, not a kiosk. Walk into any modern airport and you'll notice something. Suddenly you're expected to check yourself in, tag your own bags, reweigh your own luggage, scan your own documents, and troubleshoot your own problems. But here's the secret almost no one tells seniors. You never have to use a kiosk if you don't want to. If you're over a certain age, usually 65 or 70, or if the kiosk stresses you, confuses you, or simply feels like too much pressure, you can go directly to a staffed counter and request full-service check-in. No extra cost, no excuses needed. Most airlines quietly allow this because kiosks crash, misread passports, and cause errors. And guess who ends up fixing those errors? Human agents. So it's easier for them to just serve seniors directly. Imagine this. Instead of juggling your passport, your glasses, your bags, and a blinking machine that keeps telling you to scan again, you simply walk up and say, "I prefer full-service assistance today." A calm agent handles the rest. This is especially helpful if you're carrying medications, medical devices, or mobility aids that need special documentation. A human agent knows what forms you actually need. A kiosk doesn't. And if that one surprised you, wait until you hear the next, because it affects your comfort for the entire trip. 2. The right to special seating, even if the plane looks full. One of the worst-kept secrets inside airline operations is this. There is always a block of seats held for special requests. Always. These aren't the paid upgrades. They're reserved medical and mobility priority seats. And they're often the exact seats seniors actually need. Closer to the front, closer to the restroom, or with extra legroom. Most people never get these seats because they don't know how to ask. And airlines don't exactly scream about them because they want to sell those seats. But seniors have a quiet advantage. You can request these seats for reasons related to mobility limitations, arthritis, balance challenges, breathing limitations, or simply reduced endurance while walking. Airlines keep these seats unassigned until the last minute to comply with various accessibility rules. If you ask early, you often get them. If you ask at the gate, you almost always get them. Picture this. You're boarding a flight and the agent asks, "How can I assist?" You calmly say, "I would be more comfortable in a seat closer to the front due to limited mobility." 9 times out of 10, they unlock the row and move you. And it gets better, because some of these same seating blocks become available during delays, which leads to the next forgotten right. 3. The right to be reseated after a delay or aircraft swap. Here's something even frequent flyers forget. If your flight is delayed, swapped to a new aircraft, or recharted, you are not required to accept a worse seat. This is where seniors often get overlooked because gate agents move quickly and assume people won't speak up. But airlines have to follow one rule many travelers never hear about. If you are a senior with a comfort or mobility preference, they must attempt to reaccommodate you at the same seat quality, or better, at no extra charge. So if you originally had a forward seat but the new plane puts you in the back, they must fix it. If you had an aisle seat but the new layout puts you in a center seat, they must fix it. If the new plane has a more comfortable bulkhead or preferred seats open, you can request one. Most travelers don't know this because it's buried in operational guidelines, not public policy. And here's the part even agents will admit quietly. The moment someone calmly advocates for themselves, they bump that person to the top of the receding line. And if you think that's empowering, the next one is even more so, because it actually protects your energy and dignity at the airport. 4. The right to mobility assistance without justifying yourself. One of the biggest myths seniors believe is, I don't want to inconvenience anyone. But the truth is, the airport assistance system exists because airports know their terminals are physically demanding. Long walks, hard floors, tight connections, endless lines, these are a young person's game. Yet many seniors avoid asking for help because they think they need a doctor's note or a visible disability. You don't. If walking long distances is uncomfortable, if standing in line makes your knees ache, if you move slower than the crowd, or if you simply feel safer with support, you can request wheelchair or cart assistance with absolutely zero medical documentation. This includes check-in to security, security to the gate to boarding, disembarking assistance, baggage claim support, connections at foreign airports. And here's where many seniors miss an advantage. You can request a gate-to-gate escort during layovers. That means someone waits for you at the aircraft door and drives you or walks you to your next gate. No getting lost, no rushing, no trying to read screens while the airport buzzes around you. Airlines quietly accept this because it keeps the flow smooth. You're not slowing down crowds. You're not struggling through large terminals. You're moving efficiently, and they like that. And that leads to one of the most surprising rights of all, one that can completely change your security experience. 5. The right to an alternative TSA screening method. Most travelers don't know this, but TSA is required to offer alternative screening to seniors who cannot perform certain movements, such as raising both arms, standing for long periods, removing shoes, or bending over. You don't need a note. You don't need to explain medical details. A simple request is enough. If removing your shoes is difficult, you can request a pat down instead. If lifting your arms is painful, you can request a modification. If standing in the scanner makes you feel unstable, they can bring a chair. If you use a mobility aid, you can stay with it. You're not required to abandon it. And here's something rarely said publicly. TSA officers are often relieved when seniors ask for this up front. It makes the process smoother for them too. Imagine walking through security without twisting, falling out of balance, or feeling rushed by younger travelers behind you. The screener simply says, "We'll take care of you right here," and guides you through gently. It's calm, it's dignified, and it's your right. And before we go further, because the next rights build on this, let me slip in something important. If you love uncovering hidden travel protections and little-known perks like these, make sure you're subscribed to Boardifly. This channel is built for travelers who want to fly smarter, not more stressed. And the next rights in this video are the ones airlines really hope you never learn. All right, let's continue. 6. The right to early boarding. Automatically. Here's the thing about boarding groups. They look official. They feel official. Airlines make them sound like rigid military formation lines. But for seniors, they're flexible. Most airlines quietly allow seniors to board early if they feel they need a little more time, even if they're not in the early boarding group printed on the ticket. This is because boarding is the most physically risky part of flying. That jet bridge slope, that rush of people, that pressure to move fast, airlines know it can be overwhelming. So if you simply walk up to the gate agent and say, "I'll need a little extra time to board," they place you in the pre-boarding or priority line. And yes, even if you're flying basic economy, some airlines say this publicly. Most do not, but all follow similar internal guidelines. This right is especially helpful if you move a bit slower, want time to settle into your seat, Need extra time to lift your bag or want help placing it overhead? Prefer not to be brushed or bumped by the rush of passengers? Are carrying medication you want to organize before takeoff? The gate agent is trained to simply say, "Of course, I'll add you now." And here's a little nuance people overlook. Pre-boarding isn't for the elderly. It's for anyone who needs extra time or assistance. You're not asking for a favor. You're using a perfectly normal, completely acceptable option. And speaking of overhead bins, 7. The right to assistance with carry-ons, including placing them overhead. A lot of seniors feel embarrassed to ask for help with bags. But here's the insider truth. Flight attendants are required, trained, and fully prepared to help seniors lift or stow bags, or gate check them if needed. This isn't a special favor, it's a safety measure. Flight attendants actually prefer to help, because overhead bin injuries are among the most common in-flight incidents. They're trained to lift properly, to secure bags correctly, and to ensure no one strains themselves. But here's the trick. They often won't initiate unless you ask, because they don't want to assume anything. They don't want to offend you or imply you can't lift your bag. That's why asking is key. So imagine this. You step into the aisle, smile, and say, "I'll need assistance lifting this bag when you have a moment." They immediately take over. And if bins fill up, which they often do, you have every right to request free gate check support. No fees, no stress. They take your bag at the aircraft door and return it at the arrival gate. And this smoother handling ties directly into the next forgotten right, one that becomes incredibly important during delays. 8. The right to financial or comfort compensation during lengthy disruptions. Most travelers, and especially seniors, assume that when a flight is delayed, canceled, or stuck on the tarmac, they just have to accept whatever happens. But what many don't know is this. Depending on the cause, the length, and the airline, seniors may be eligible for compensation, rebates, hotel vouchers, meal vouchers, rebooking priority, or even medical necessity assistance during extended delays. Airlines rarely announce this. Why? Because most people won't ask, and every unclaimed voucher saves them money. But here's where seniors have leverage. You can request a seat during long delays instead of standing. You can request water or medication access if needed. You can request a quiet or comfortable waiting area. You can request rebooking on another airline if medically necessary. You can request meal vouchers during significant delays depending on the airline. You can request hotel accommodations during overnight cancellations if airline caused. Agents usually only offer these when prompted because rules vary, and people who know the rules tend to get served faster. Now, one right that almost no senior traveler uses, and it's a shame, is the right to refuse a bad solution during a disruption. If the delay solution puts you in a stressful or physically taxing situation, you can say, "That won't work for me. What other options do you have?" They'll scroll deeper into their system and often find something far better. But the next right doesn't involve airports at all. It's about the aircraft itself. 9. The right to medication priority and cold storage access. If you travel with medications, insulin, inhalers, injectables, refrigerated meds, or even timed tablets, you have two rights airlines almost never talk about. First, you can bring more medication than the standard 311 liquid rule. Medical liquids are exempt. Completely. Second, many aircraft have cold storage compartments. Not public refrigerators, but secure galley coolers. And seniors can request to store heat-sensitive medical items in them, space permitting. Most travelers have no idea this exists because flight attendants won't announce it. It's an ask-if-needed item. They also understand that seniors often need water for medication at specific times, so you can ask for early water service, even before takeoff. They know the drill. And here's an insider nuance. If you need to access medication while the seatbelt sign is on, you can request permission to stand or move even when others must remain seated. Safety comes first, but flight attendants are trained to balance medical necessity with cabin rules. Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most empowering, forgotten senior travel right. 10. The right to dignity in every interaction. Airports move fast. Policies sound harsh. Agents get overwhelmed. And many seniors walk away feeling rushed, dismissed, or talked down to. But here's the part that isn't said enough. You have the right to patient explanations. You have the right to ask someone to repeat instructions. You have the right to be treated respectfully. You have the right to decline confusing self-service processes. You have the right to slow down and catch your breath. You have the right to ask for a quieter area. You have the right to say, please explain that again, without feeling like a burden. Agents sometimes forget this. The crowds, the noise, the pressure, it all gets to them. But when a senior calmly says, I need a moment, or could you explain that one more time? It resets the entire tone, because here's the truth they don't teach in training manuals. When seniors speak with clarity and confidence, people pay attention. This final right isn't about paperwork, it's about presence, and it might be the most powerful one in this video. Let's circle back to something we said at the very beginning. Airports are designed for flow, not comfort. But seniors, whether traveling at 60, 70, 80, or beyond, are allowed to slow that flow down when needed. You don't have to rush through a process your body isn't built for. You don't have to pretend kiosks make sense. You don't have to accept a seat that hurts your knees. You don't have to walk a quarter mile to a connection. You don't have to be quiet about your medical needs. You don't have to shrug during a delay and think, I guess this is how it works. You have rights, real ones, even if no airport puts them on a big sign. If there's one master phrase to remember after watching today's video, it's this: what are my options? That single question opens doors, unlocks seats, brings out vouchers, reveals policies, and gives agents the green light to help you the way they wish they could help everyone. Use it at the ticket counter. Use it at the gate. Use it during delays. Use it when boarding. Use it on the plane. Because the moment you ask that question, the system has to work for you, not around you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's the best free thing you've ever been given on a flight? A snack? A seat upgrade? A cup of water at the perfect moment? Share your story in the comments. It helps others learn from your experience. And if you want more videos like this, full of the hidden intel airlines never say out loud, then hit that subscribe button and join the Boardifly community. Until next time, fly smarter.